Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Brownlee, Principal Assessor for the Town of Northborough, Massachusetts. This open meeting of the Elderly and Disabled Taxation Fund Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's Executive Order of June 16, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. And the public is encouraged to follow along using the agenda that we posted on the town's website. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. So committee members, when I call your name, please respond out loud in the affirmative. Lisa Trost. Jocelyn Earhart.
Hi.
Muriel Swenner.
Here.
Jennifer Critchlow. Jennifer, you have to unmute, please. Upper right corner, I think. Sorry to make you go through this. It has to be out loud to be legal according to the rules of remote meetings.
Yep.
Super. You're here. Okay.
Sorry about that.
it's yes, so funny. I think that's for people who are listening in on the phone or something. And assessor staff, Patricia Mispelli.
Here.
Thank you. All right, so a couple of things. We have two sets of meeting minutes from last time, and during the open session of the meeting, we'll talk about the minutes from last time and review them and vote on whether they need corrections or not. And then there's also a more complete set of minutes from the executive session, and we vote on that in executive session, so that we have to vote on it in executive session so that those minutes stay confidential, whereas the open meeting minutes get posted on the town's website. So has everyone had a chance to review the open session minutes from March 25th? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, are there any questions, or is there any, did you see anything that we need changed? No?
I didn't notice anything.
Okay, great. All right, then I would like to entertain a motion. So someone's got to move that motion. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the open session March 25th, 2022 minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Did someone second it?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, Muriel.
Go ahead.
I second the motion.
All right.
Okay. All right. All in favor, Lisa?
Aye.
Muriel?
Aye.
And Jennifer?
Aye.
And I vote for me as well. Thank you. Okay. I would love it if Lisa could present an update on our finances, please.
Sure. So we had a balance of $58,398.14 at our last meeting. And since then, we have received revenue of $207.89 in the checkoff portion of the funds. And then we obviously have done our disbursements for the EDTF awards, and that total was $24,000 $371.85, which leaves us with a balance of $34,234.18.
Super. Thank you so much. Just in case any of you, if this is of interest to any of you, when we decided on the disbursements and we had voted on 25,000, when it came down to the numbers that we had chosen for the amounts we had chosen for different applicants, instead of dividing the 25,000 exactly, I made the executive decision to round all those numbers so that when you look at someone's tax bill, you can see they got $400 off that year versus $407.33, which would be hard for people looking back and saying, why? So it just, so we came really close to the 25,000, but we didn't quite spend it all. All right. So this meeting is to talk about finding more applicants and finding more donors. And I've investigated a couple of things. And so I will just kind of run through that list with you, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that exist on the town's website that I think that together we can improve on. And then I'd also love to hear everybody else's ideas. And to answer, oh, there's Cindy.
Juliet, can I add one thing before we start on the next thing? I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that just so you all know that we did receive a couple phone calls of thank you for the awards. And then Julie and I received a letter yesterday from one of the applicants. So it's just great to hear back from them that they were thankful for the help they received. So I thought that was great and wanted to make sure you were all aware that we got some positive feedback and people were very appreciative.
Yes.
Nice to hear that.
Nice.
It
Really
is.
nice.
It is. It's fantastic.
Mhm.
And I should say that with the senior exemptions too, which are some of these applicants are, we get letters and phone calls and thanking us also in gratitude on the phone. So it is it's wonderful. Okay, so Cynthia, I'm going to call your name so you can say you're here. You have to unmute and answer in case someone's listening on the phone.
Hi.
Hi, Cynthia, under the meeting at 8:08 approximately.
Hi, thank you.
So Cynthia, I had just said we had approved the minutes. I'll give you the opportunity though. Was there anything that you had a question about or anything? Okay, great. And Lisa did a little presentation of where we are with the money, which and then which is basically from what we had and what we spent. So this meeting is to talk about, and the other thing, Cindy, is that we have voted on those minutes, but then we have executive session minutes. So that will be our only executive session. Probably our only topic today is to vote on the executive session minutes. And we have to do that in executive session to keep them confidential. So this meeting is to talk about finding more applicants and finding more donors. I've made a brief list of some things that we could do or could do better. And I'm going to screen share a couple of the pages on the town's website. So I'll just kind of run through my brief list and then that's just a starting place and everybody can brainstorm and talk and I should kind of say, for the award part of this committee, obviously you already know that, we take in this, the assessor's office takes in the applications and reviews them, and the between the assessor's office and the collector's office, we award the actual money and do the work on the financial software. So So you guys' input is invaluable on determining, you know, as we work together, figuring out what the guidelines are and what applicants we will review, and then coming up with the awards and the different award amounts and the different reasons why, and all that's invaluable. As far as finding applicants and finding donors, this piece of it is we're here for guidance and to help you know what we can and cannot do within the confines of this town's kind of philosophy and within the state legislative things. But we're kind of put this on the committee's lap to develop finding applicants and donors, and we'll be your support in any way that we can. So I will just share my very rudimentary list with you. And so some basic things that the committee has used in the past are, you know, some ideas are having a show on the local cable station. That includes Frank and Mary is a show for seniors that's on the cable station. And a year and a half ago, I did go on the show and talk about the senior exemptions. So we could have a show perhaps on local cable about the EDTF specifically, and then maybe Frank and Mary would want to interview someone about the ED or the committee about the EDTF also. We could shoot for an article in the Community Advocate, or two different articles, one for donors, one for applicants. There's that electronic billboard near Blake Street. We have always advertised on our website, and the Senior Center advertises in their newsletter, but there's also the library newsletter that we could access. We could possibly have some kind of information meeting at the library. So those are just like the quick brainstorm things that I literally wrote down this morning. On our website, which I'm going to share with you now. So I did a little bit of research on our website. Let me think about how to get to this. Okay. Sorry, oh, there we go. Stop share screen, website. Okay. This is the assessor's page, and we're going to take this off now that we passed April 1st, but from September through April, we always have this property tax relief with the deadline of April 1st. And so that takes you into the information about our programs. We can tailor that, and where it takes you, we can tailor to speak more specifically about the EDTF. On the menu near the bottom, this morning I went in and changed. I've highlighted where it says tax relief programs. Before this, we were calling it tax relief exemptions explain. And first of all, I think that's a mouthful. Second of all, I think that if you don't know what an exemption is, we've already lost you. And a tax relief program is much more inviting, I think. And then when we go into that, we don't have anything about the EDTF there. So I apologize for that, and we will add that. So I'd kind of like to, so that's one place to work. Another thing, and I went and talked to Andy Dowd yesterday, our town clerk, about what is and isn't appropriate for fundraising according to how this town operates. And I'm not talking about, I hope the word appropriate wasn't off-putting. It's just like, what are the standards here and what do we do and not do? And so he showed me the online bill payment page. And I don't ever pay my own, I don't live in Northborough. I don't pay my own bills through my town's website. So I've never looked at one of these pages. And to donate to the EDTF online, you have to click into there. And then there's a donations button. And then you can donate to the EDTF, you can donate to the library, the scholarship, and there's something else called the Special Benevolent Trust Funds. So my thinking is that's really buried. It's good to have it there, but we need to bring it out to the front. Okay, so that's the homework I did, and I'd love to open up the floor.
I thought you had
Julie,
some really great ideas,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
way more than I came up with.
So some of the things that I thought of right away, Julie, was whether or not the website itself is accessible, disability accessible. And you can like just run a free online web checker and it's not. So, I think the first part of engaging people with disabilities is to make sure that the portals where they get information is accessible. So I think that that's important for the town to look at, is to
Okay.
make sure that the website's accessible from a disability standpoint.
That's something that I can pass on, and the department that's responsible for that just hired someone new, and so they have a little bit more capability yeah, I've seen a few things. I thought about it when I worked at the library. I don't know if the library's website is, but I thought about it years ago working on the library website. And what is the phrase that I would need? What's the proper phrase for me when I write to the IT department?
It's website accessibility. And disability accessibility, or you could say section 508, which is the actual code that is the requirement. It has like all the web accessibility requirements.
Okay. So when you say website accessibility, it can mean things besides, I know section 508, but what are the words for people with disabilities? Because accessibility can also mean like it works on many different browsers, and that has nothing to do with anything.
It actually does. So
Well-
website disability accessibility means that it's available on different browsers, and it has like all the right buttons, and it has the voiceovers, and it's closed captioning under a video.
No,
and
I understand, but for me to convey it to them, like they might just come back and say, well, you can see it on every browser. So I mean, that issue
they
applies.
should just, okay, so they should run disability accessibility.
That's the phrase I wanted,
A
disability.
disability accessibility web check. They're available for free. There's hundreds of them out there. You can literally just pop in the URL and it will spit out a report about all the things that are wrong with your website.
Okay.
So if they do,
That's
yeah,
right. They're going to use a different approach. They're going to use a different approach. That's why I just needed the language. And you said it so fast, I didn't catch what you said.
Right. It's the coffee.
It's disability accessibility that I wanted. That's what I was looking for, because they're foremost concerned about everything is security, and we have to to get them to do to sometimes get what we need. We have to go through layers and layers, and the security is all important, but it's talking to the people we want to help us. All right, so that's terrific. Yeah, I'm really disappointed that you found that to be true.
Yeah, even language, I mean, it's in English only.
Right. And we have more than 13% of our population, English is not their first language, and our town has more than 30 languages spoken. So there should be a toggle on our website. There's like just a widget that you can put in, a widget that you can install on your website, and allows you to toggle between languages. It will do the translation for you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it costs you practically nothing to install a widget. A lot of widgets are free.
Okay.
So the language accessibility and other than English is important.
Perfect. Language accessibility. Okay.
And then linguistic accessibility also. So I don't know if you know this, but the average American reads at a 7th grade reading level. the average person who receives some sort of form of disability, some sort of form of social supports reads at a 5th grade reading level. So any words that are on the website about this product in particular, this offering from the town, should be written at a 5th grade reading language level.
Okay.
And
Is
like
there-
words like assessor, or like we have to like use more simplistic words like the taxes you pay on your property, right? Or the taxes you pay on your home, or, you know, so writing the content at a 5th grade at a 5th grade reading level will make it accessible to people with disabilities and for people who need social services support who don't have disabilities.
Okay, and I might add, you know, I'm saying it briefly, so please know that I'm saying it with the best interest in heart. The older we get, often, even if we have fantastic vocabulary, language processing, we're still like, people are still super sharp, but language processing takes longer. And so it's not that they read slower, it's the comprehension maybe is sometimes slower. And, you know, we all know what we're like when we have the flu. It's the same thing, you know? Ugh. So,
Language can be a barrier for sure.
Yeah.
So like you pointed out with the tax relief, rephrasing that phrase. So,
Right. So what is a good, these are things that I'm really aware of from, you know, from my life as a librarian. And also I come from a big family. 2 of my brothers are dyslexic, and then I'm like super reader, you know? So where is a good, do you know of a website where like 5th grade to me is a concept and not really, how do I know that I'm achieving that?
Yeah, so there are online free readability checkers, like readabilityformulas.com is one, but there's a bunch of them online that are just free
Okay.
readability checkers.
Okay.
So you can just cut and paste language and then
Okay.
from one site to another, and then it will give you a report.
Okay.
And it will also give you suggestions. There are also products where you can, if you give me a second, I'll have to think of the name of it, where you can take language and run it through a free system, and it will change the readability. It will offer suggestions for editing.
Okay.
So it will take you from your 12th grade reading level to your 5th grade reading level. I just have to find the name of the app that I've used before.
Yeah, you can email it to us.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But
that's
the
good.
readability checker is just an online free thing that you can use.
Yep, and I've written that down, and we'll try to use that on the assessor's page in general, because I'm always trying to say things in English. I'm always encouraging this office to say things in English. And you know, in every profession, you have all these shortcuts of the way you say things. So, and yes, and yeah, I really appreciate this. This is fantastic. Okay, so that's website in terms of accessibility, and so to be honest, normally it would just be I'm fast at this kind of organizing website, writing things, finding all the spots there are, but this office has been really short-staffed for a long time, and we are way behind on a ton of things. So our website for everyday purposes has suffered. And it's not that it's not important, but I have to create the tax bills, you know, and I don't have a choice about that. And it's not, so I was hoping that maybe one or all of the resident committee members could get together and just review the website, look for places to plug in info about the EDTF, and then we have to literally edit it. But if you do that work, I think it would achieve 2 things. One I've already mentioned, and the other is you're going to come at it from an entirely different area than my time in this office, or or even my time in the library, with information sharing. Like it's so great to have a lot of different ideas and not just my way. So I don't know if you guys are interested in doing that.
So exactly what is it you want us to do?
So I think it would be great if individuals or the three of you together, and with us as a resource always, anytime, looked at a bunch of different ideas so the website is an example. If you reviewed the website and got to know the town's website and thought of all the different places where you could advertise for donors and advertise for applicants, and kind of made a comprehensive plan and brought it back, and then we could edit it and add it to the website. It's the kind of thing I love to do, but I don't have that. I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the time to come up with a whole plan and present it to you guys. So I was hoping that I could pass that on.
I'm happy to help. I probably won't have time for something like that until June. I'm actually in the middle of rewriting a company's website. So
Right.
kind of underwater with that with a different company right now, but I'd be happy to
I think
throw some time at it this summer.
I think it's a good idea. Maybe if we individually go into the website, mark down changes that we think could help, and then get together with those and come up with something, solid, and then take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, our timeline is in a way infinite, but also we don't start sending out any applications for anything until September. So that would give people a chance to take their time and look at the website and think through things, and then yeah,
Okay.
that would be great. If you come across something that's like, hey, Julie, change this right now, or at least change it temporarily right now until we can do something better, we don't have to create a whole finished product and sign off on it and do it. We want that as an end result, but in the meantime, if it's like, hey, stick a donor button or mention the EDTF, right? Anyway, so I think the end of August, beginning of September would be a good deadline for that.
Okay.
People have a chance to review. And think about specific language, not just in terms of what we just talked about, but like language that makes people pay attention for either donating, or language that makes people pay attention, something that will stand out so that they go, oh, there's help here. And so besides the assessor pages, I took you to the bill pay page, and there's also, like Family and Youth Services and the Senior Center and the library. So we don't know which of those departments will want to do what, but we can try a really broad approach. And
The name of the app, Julie, is called Rewordify. Just in case anyone else is listening and they want to know it. Rewordify. REWORDIFY. Rewordify.
okay, good. Gosh, I was typing something else differently. I'm really glad you spelled it.
Yeah, it's, yeah, you wordify, yeah.
Even though you pronounced it clearly, I heard read wordify. So rewordify. That's a.
That's why I couldn't remember. It doesn't roll off your tongue.
No, it's kind of an inaccessible word for an accessibility check.
That's a good, totally. They should have called it like fix it or something, something simple.
Right. But that's the thing. Someone did it who loves language.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Okay, so as you're, I don't know other towns who have this. I hadn't thought about that, but you might expand besides looking at our website, like look out there for other programs and see how they're advertised. And, and then totally ignoring the fact of what we're advertising. Just look at other advertising that catches your eye or that you think would catch the eye of the socioeconomic groups that we are targeting as both donors and as potential applicants. So I'm asking you all to become marketers, which I've never been, but that's I guess that's what I'm asking. And I just feel like if everybody really looks at things that way, that we could come up with something simple and clear and persuasive, perhaps.
I'm wondering what everybody would think about, there's a lot of college students who are home during the summer, and there's a lot of them who really want to build their portfolio, and they're looking for internships, paid or unpaid. They're looking for things that they can even just volunteer to do, where they can build their portfolio, build their resume, I'm wondering what you guys think about asking just the community if there's any college student around who's perhaps majoring in marketing or digital communication or something who could help us out, somebody who would, know a lot more than what we know perhaps, and have a talent for these things. What do you guys think about seeing if there's a willing college student who wants to partner with us?
I think it's a great idea. We, in my former town that I worked for, we used them as interns a lot, unpaid positions even, just to, give them some experience. And it was a win-win situation. It worked out well for us. So I think that's a great idea.
A related topic came up yesterday during our staff meeting, and Vicki said that she would even present something like that to the juniors. She belongs to the Northborough Junior Women's Club, and a lot of those people have college-age daughters or granddaughters, grandsons that kind of, she would be happy to put the word out if that's, a direction you decide to go. So that would be one kind of way of making connections.
So my only hesitation on it is that interns have to be, someone has to oversee them.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. And I should have said this from the beginning. We have to, for the website, not for other things that we do necessarily, but for the website, it's like the style, and we have to stay in the style. It's not that we can't use clip art or a video, perhaps. It's not that we can't, so it's more about font size, that we can't even choose colors hardly, and so.
Right, that's your branding, right? So you gotta stick with your branding. Yeah, no, I was thinking more of one of these digital marketing people would help us with content writing and help us with rewordify and help us with running accessibility checks on the pages and things like that. Like, not that they would actually type in the changes to the system, but that they would kind of do the legwork for us. That's really like, we could give them a list, like run website accessibility, run readability, convert this language from this level of language to this level of language. Like, they're trained to know how to do that. And that would just produce like Word documents back to us. Like, here's the words, here's the suggested changes, here's what we found auditing the website, that sort of thing. So not like that they would make the changes, but that they would come back with the body of work that needs to be done. That's what I was thinking. But, if you want to go a step further than that, I'd be all for that too. But I just know that those first tasks, you can just tell anybody to do that. They know how to do that. So.
That's of course okay with me. But I can't even I can ask you guys to do that work. I can't go farther but you guys can.
I think starting with that the Northborough Junior Women's Club is a great way to network and see if we can find that resource. Who has a contact there? I know one of my neighbors up the street is a part of it.
Yeah, one of our kitchen managers is a member. So, they meet regularly. I mean, she'd be happy to put the word out.
I've gone before. I just never stuck with it. Going out at night in the middle of the winter is not my thing. So that sounds great. I think that's a first step, right?
That certainly will start us off, no doubt.
I have a question though. How many people do you think actually, I mean, I think doing this stuff on the website is a great idea, but I have quite a few older neighbors on the street who come to me and say, can you make my appointments for me online? Can you print down this application? Because I can't do it. I'm just wondering how many of our older citizens actually go on the computer and do any of this work. And I know my daughter's an English language learner teacher, and she's telling me that in her district, the parents don't even really go online, mostly because it's not translated for them, but they just don't even think that that's the place that they should go to be looking for this stuff. So I'm wondering if we also need to focus on, like my mother she wanted to do the computer, but she wasn't great at it, but she read avidly. Any piece of paper you put in front of her, she read, like the library newsletter, the senior newsletter, that kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if we should also focus on that, if we would reach more people that way. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I think you have to do it all.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think,
if you're illiterate, you either have to ask somebody to read it to you, or you use the computer and the computer reads it for you. So we have to do it all, not one size fits all, I think, which is one of the reasons why I thought, Julie, that you brought up that cable TV thing. It's so important because there are people who are just not going to go to the town hall. They're not going to go to the website. They might not go to the library, but they may actually access TV.
Right. So my thought was if you thought about it in terms of the website first, that would give you the starting language for what you're going to take everywhere else. And
that's true.
And the big part about having the website is then you can point people to it, and you can point the people that help on the computer. You can screenshot it and print it and mail it to somebody, like you have a document there, or you have so that, yes. So I just was, because this office can't do much of this work, I was just trying to start the process with look at the website first, and that will, it's not that you have to do that, just in my mind, that was to get your thoughts going on wording and how you want to promote things, and then you can go to the cable station and the community advocate and what have you.
No, that's a really good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but without saying it, I was trying to make it bite-sized.
I think that's really good. I mean, that's a big summer bite-sized chunk.
Yeah, yeah. So does someone want to go to the Junior Women's Club? And I don't know,
I can ask Ruth Reeves. She's in the Junior Women's Club, and
Okay.
you know, we're connected, and I'm happy to do that. Just writing it down. I know she's in England right now, but when she gets back, so, that's fine. Happy to do that.
Okay.
And then, can I just ask a question, Julie? Because I don't know anything about advertising on the local cable station, but so how does that work? Because like I know sometimes when I flip through the channels, I'll go by and then there'll be like a community announcement or something, or
Oh, yeah, and I have never watched Northborough's really, even though I was on it. So I didn't even think of the idea of announcements, which, yes, that's a great thing. I was thinking of, the committee doing a little show where they talk about, part of the show, we're looking for donors and here's why, and we're looking for applicants. And even if you don't qualify for this, you might qualify for other things. And that's what I was thinking of. So I don't know who, Kathy Dalgleish is the cable TV person, which you can find on the town's website. And Kathy herself would probably have ideas about how we could approach this. Yeah, but the announcement thing is great, and like using this electronic billboard that's over near Blake Street, um,
Yeah.
just to, putting it out there, like putting it out there so it's always there. And last year when we put on the assessor's webpage to contact us about the tax relief programs, we also had it, we also had the town clerk there was a little notice right on the town's homepage about it too. But when you go to it, you don't really find anything about the EDTF or about donating. So that's a big flaw.
I was gonna say, yesterday we were talking about town meeting even. I don't know if there's a way of getting the word out, because the last couple of years, after town meeting, it's not a coincidence, but we've gotten multiple inquiries about the senior tax work off right after town meeting, and people find out what their taxes are going to be, or are anticipating.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it caught us by surprise, but we were just talking about it yesterday that, based on the last couple of years, that might be something we could expect.
So is the trigger that it's not that senior work off is talked about at town meeting. It's just that they find out how much. Yeah. And Monday night. Yes. I mean, you've seen the sales in town. The values of the properties are really increasing still, because the value that we're determining you'll see on your tax bill January 1st is based on all the sales in 2021. Because I have to use that whole year of a whole calendar years to statistically analyze what I'm going to decide the property values are. So there's always that lag. And so when things do start to turn down, just to get in my little assessor box here for a minute, when things do start to turn down, we're not turning down right at the same time. We got to wait until we see it in a year's worth of data. Oh, that's fascinating, Jocelyn. Okay. Yeah, well, that makes me kind of rethink. Yeah, that makes me rethink. Instead of taking down on the assessor's webpage, the deadline was April 1st, so please leave us alone for a few months and then we'll talk to you again for 9 months straight. It's kind of how, it's you're just trying to manage your workflow. But instead, because the one thing that we do anytime someone calls us, and when it's not the time to accept applications, is we get all their contact info and we send them something out in September, and we make sure, and they're never missed that way. And so we could put something up, an interim thing, like, we're not accepting applications right now, but please be aware.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sense.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Of
Wh-
course,
Why wouldn't we accept an application?
because we have to, we probably, for one applicant, we have to look at all their financial, because we have to keep track of it. We accept it from September through April. And for workflow and all the things we do, we just can't. There are minor exceptions, but if we get an application and it's not complete, if we get an application in June, it's not complete, we're not going to look at it until the fall. And we would have to, tracking things is really difficult. So it's kind of, it's not an assembly line process at all, because we talk to people a lot, and we for all the applications we don't get, we follow up with phone calls. We try and get contact, and if they don't do their own application themselves, we talk to their in-laws, their children, their whoever. I mean, it's just this huge, big process, and we have to just not do it.
Right. So I'm asking so that I could think about, because maybe one of the things to think about in our marketing materials is like a countdown to September. Like, what are the things that you should do? Like, if I was applying, what are the things that I should do and I should get ready so that September
Cool.
1st I can apply? So
Cool.
what are all the things I should be gathering or thinking about or completing my taxes, whatever it is, so that I
Right.
have a checklist and here's all the things that I'm ready to apply. So,
That's fantastic.
give people something to do in between that time.
Mhm.
And for some people, it's going to take that long. It's just emotionally overwhelming, or, health-wise a lot, or.
So I love that idea. And to some people, that's really helpful. And to other people, they just need to be told once.
Yeah.
And I don't mean because they respond. I mean, oh gosh, I can't think of really how to say it, but they can get overwhelmed by the
Yes.
idea that it's stretched out. Yeah.
Yes.
I know, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, so we need to appeal to both those audiences. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, and then even maybe we could think creatively about partnering with, if it's not the senior center or, the women's club, whatever, but like, is there someone in the community who we could just start marketing with? They could help us market. We could create like an echo effect. So we start marketing in August, they start marketing, they echo what we've put out. So we create something to talk about September 1st, we're starting to set up applications. This is what the opportunity is. And so now maybe they've got a newsletter, they put it in like NSPAC, the Northborough, Southborough Parent Advisory Committee for all the families of children with disabilities. Like, we could give them something, they could put something in their newsletter. So just, we don't have to figure it out now, but if we just think about like September, there are opportunities for us to partner with other groups in the state, in the city that have, in the town that have social media networks that they can echo it on. So it's not just us trying to just market directly.
Yeah, it's actually, well, it is kind of it's actually a big time for other application programs too. But yeah, we find, so we do the tax clinic and we have a Shine program, and for those two and a couple of other things, the fuel assistance, there's a checklist that each of those programs has for the items that people should have prepared for their appointments. And some sort of, I think it is helpful to have something in writing, something simple. And part of the other problem is that people like to think of these things as a one time, every year they say, I have to do this every year. And every year you say, yeah, it's an annual thing. And so it's just to, say this is an annual process, and, set aside next year, set aside your tax return for, the following year or whatever. But yeah, I think kind of, it's nice to have that item to pass on to people, to include with a mailing, to, it's like a business card. It's just a reminder item. And it does help to simplify something that is confused. It repeats the name of the process. It gets that out there on a repeated basis. Yeah, I think that's a really helpful thing.
Right. So I'm not aware of, I vaguely heard of the things Jocelyn talked about, and I didn't even think about social media. I don't know what century I'm living in. And the parental thing group that you mentioned, Cindy, those are fabulous. And we kind of need a comprehensive list of those. And I'm happy to keep an ongoing list. If you guys just email me separately, oh, what about this organization? What about this? And I'll just keep a document so that we have them all. To give you an idea for this office, so we send out the applications in mid-September, and that gives us time to prepare sending them out, because we are one of the big things that happens in this office is done kind of at the end of August. So then we jump into the tax program stuff, but we have to gear up and, review all the names that we're sending it out to, double check that they really still own their properties, that that's still the correct contact information, stuff like that. And then we try to get them to give us their, to have everything back from them. The actual deadline is April 1st, but if we get things by mid-November, we usually create the tax bills that begin in January on around like December 9th-ish. So if we get everything by mid-November, then everybody who's applied can get money off that January bill right away. You can keep applying all year, but then the math for them and for us is harder, because so if you're with the senior exemption, you get $1,000 off, you get $500 off in the bill you get in January, you get $500 off the bill you do in March. You know that you're going to get, if you've been in the program for years, you know that you're going to get that. And so that's how it works out best for us and for them. If we get it after that, we still do it. But then there's a lot of conversations about, well, when is the money coming and how do I, so anyway, I think a mailing is a great idea too, Jocelyn. And we don't want to conflict with everything that you guys are doing, but maybe we can piggyback a little bit. Or
I wonder, I could see if there'd be something we could include. I don't know how that works. We have the newsletter that goes out monthly, and I could see if there's something that we could include, a slip-in type of thing in September, or.
Yeah, so for like the NSPAC, they have a newsletter too. So if we wrote up like a little piece, like, taxation relief is available for families, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure they would just put it in their newsletter.
okay, great.
Because it doesn't
Yeah,
cost them anything. It's all digital. So they don't mail anything. It's all digital.
Yeah, we do have a little item like that. If we wanted to put in something like that form you're talking about, that's prepare ahead, to get this going type of thing. I can just see if I don't know how that works, but if the person that does our newsletter has the capacity to do that.
I was wondering if and it's just brainstorming entirely. I was wondering if there's anything in the local medical community. Like, because that's not something I'm in touch with at all. I don't know, like I know Family and Youth Services needs to know about all these different kinds of possibilities. I don't know if there's such things as, I don't know what's maybe associated with the food pantry or,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
where
that would
people,
be a great place to have a stack of those items that maybe the Legion. We could ask at the
Oh.
health department. I mean, they might. I
Yeah,
don't know if-
our own health department.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Years ago, I helped out there was a free medical clinic in Worcester that I helped out with for a long time. And back then it was the only, and this was a really long time ago, like 25 years ago. Back then it was the only free medical clinic anywhere near. And one of the things I did was keep track of where everybody came from, which was far. So I don't know about those kind of things nowadays for people that are Northborough residents, where they might go if they don't have medical coverage or if they don't have complete medical coverage. So if anybody knows of anything like that. So,
Julie,
yeah,
excuse me just 1 minute. I'm going to have to exit at 9 o'clock because I have an appointment. So just so
Okay.
you know, if I go, I'm gone.
okay. All right. Thank you, Muriel. Jocelyn, when you were talking about the little, I think it was a checklist, the tax clinic, Shine program, fuel assistance. What
They
is
all have
that?
they all have their own checklist. Like, Fuel Assistance creates one that lists the documents you need to apply.
Okay,
Shine asks that you bring certain items so that when you meet with the counselor, they can actually help you. And the tax clinic it's a long list, but it's inclusive for
that's
the kinds.
nice.
Yeah, and people, it just helps, rather than try to, it's rather than imagine what all might be necessary. But I like Cindy's idea about, pull this together, while you're waiting to get your application or to request your application, do some advanced planning or preparation. And
Me too. Me too. I think that's a terrific idea. So, so if we find someone from, via the Junior Women's Club or something, then they could pull together a list from us. If we don't find some, then we could get all the lists from everybody else, and like that would help us brainstorm how we want to create a list.
yeah, I'd be happy to pull those together and see what's,
Yeah. So if people want to come across, if people want to send me, like MS Pack, like lists of places to advertise, to partner market, as Cindy put it. I'm like writing these things down because it's like new languages for me. Or come across, things that they've seen other places that we might want to emulate. Documents like the tax clinics list. I'm happy to just like keep it all together in a folder and share it with us all at once. So do we want to, when would you like to meet again to review all our brainstorming and come up with a plan, like mid to late August, or should we try and pick a date now? Should I wait until early August and reach out to you then?
So if I connect with the Northborough Junior Women's Club and they have somebody for the summer, what would it be our next steps?
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Would we meet informally? Can we do that? Do we have to meet like this to talk with the intern? Like, what do I'm not really quite sure what the rules are.
I think we can all do research and work and on our own, and these aren't voting items. We don't need to vote. This is a little bit of a, I keep, so that you're aware, I keep checking in with the town clerk and checking in on the rules and everything on these kind of committee meetings. It's a new territory for me, but if someone's volunteering to do work for us and it's not, we're not obligated to use their work. We're not contracting anyone. I'm trying to think this through. As long as they're okay with that they're very generously donating their time to help us market, I think that's fine. That, we could have a Zoom meeting to talk things through if we're more comfortable with that. You can contact each other and just say, what do you think? What do you guys think?
I can just email everybody whatever the response I got.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
maybe at that point we just take one, figure out what to do from there.
Okay.
Because if we get nobody, then we'll have to go with plan B, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
I would love to still talk about fundraising.
Oh yeah, we haven't really done that.
How are we constrained, or how are we, like, what can we do? What can we not do? Like that sort of thing. I do have to take a comfort break, so I will be back in just like 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. I wish I had a great picture like Cindy to put up when such a pretty picture.
I
Well,
don't really have any details, by the way, on fundraising. That's more of a Jason issue as far as what the town can and can't do.
I did talk with Andy a little bit
You did? Okay, good.
yesterday. Yeah.
Because it's budget time and town meeting on Monday, so Jason and I, there's
No.
other things we couldn't even connect on that.
Right. Right.
Has there historically been fundraising for this committee in the past, or is this a new idea?
No, there's an old folder. It's really old. And I haven't looked at it in like a year, but back really before digital stuff. And it was like a flyer or a mailing, or, explaining who we are and, hey, here's why donations would be great. So it was really, so having said that, like, as much as I do, you don't need to read the actual old language for how things were solicited, kind of.
Okay.
So, and there's no language in the law or the towns, when the town voted to adopt this program based on the state creating the program. There's no language about how we fundraise, but we are totally responsible for finding money for this program. So just first of all, if you meet someone on the street and you think you can hit them up for a donation, all they have to do is 2 parts, and then they're really, really important, but really simple. It has to be a check, not cash. It has to be written to the town of Northborough. And on the subject line, it has to say EDTF. Okay.
Yep.
A lot of the things that we've talked about also apply to fundraising in terms of, advertising, all the, you know, the different pieces of advertising. Cindy, while you're gone, Lisa asked if this committee had done this in the past, and like more than a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago, they did some really big promotions, but they were really old school. Like there's some old letters that they mailed out, and you know, the language is so different than how we would write it these days. But basically they said, here's this committee, here's why it's important to help, please help. I think, to say it succinctly, I think if, like, I don't think this, so I think that we can advertise the reason the committee exists and what the need is. We can advertise somehow how much the donations help, or some kind of statistics on who's in need. And we can use all the things that we've talked about, the website and the cable station and the, you know, the other, you know, other. So beyond that, what would you like to know, or what can we talk about?
So, you know, other organizations, you know, it's possible to fill out, for example, donation requests to local credit unions or to insurance companies or to banks or whatever in the area. And most of those donations are just, you fill out a form. It's not like a grant writing or anything. And most of them, you don't have to like be a member of the bank or be a member of the credit union and whatnot, as long as the funds are actually going for public good. And so I wonder if that's not an opportunity for us. Sometimes those entities have a requirement that the donation is going to a 501(c)(3). So we could, I don't know if there is a 501(c)(3) that's affiliated with the town. It isn't, I know, oh my
All
God.
the friends groups are.
Thank you. I was gonna say Fun Care. I'm dating myself now. They're not called that anymore. North, the NEDP after school thing, like they're one, but you know, yeah, there's a Friends of Southborough, but like, is there a
The
Northborough
library.
nonprofit that we could partner with, where we could get the donations sent to them, and then the nonprofit could donate to the town for our benefit? So the nonprofit would qualify as the recipient of the grants, and then they would give it to they would give the grant funding to the town as the recipient of their award. And like I said, those things are pretty easy to fill out. I do them all the time for my nonprofit that I'm president of right now. So I wonder if there's an opportunity for us to do that, because it's pretty low effort. I often fill these things out like while I'm sitting around waiting for my kid to come out of his class, and I'm picking him up, or like whatever. I'm just sitting there doing it on my phone.
So it sounds to me like, I mean, I understand the letter thing, and that is great. But I mean, we can ask Jason, but I think us being a 501(c) isn't
No.
probably.
Right. So we'd have to partner with somebody who was a 501(c), and then they would say, okay, we're going to bestow this to you. We're going to partner with you to raise the funds. And then when they get the funds, they're going to give the funds to us.
Right. Right.
So basically they're the grant recipient and the grantor.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Does anyone have any ideas for who we might ask to do that?
I can check with Jason. I don't know if we have like a friends of group already. I'm fairly new here, but bringing in the, you know, the revenue every month. I haven't seen any turn-ins come in for a friends of, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. They just don't know. So I can find out.
What about the friend? Isn't there a Friends of the Senior Center? I swear to God, I think I've signed up for that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really, they're supposed to be so separate that they're not, you know, based in the senior center. So I can't really speak to that. I know there's a Friends of the Senior Center, a Friends of the Library. That kind of has come up in a different iteration in the past, and it was touchy.
Mhm.
So I don't know what they would think of, collecting. I just, collecting money under one auspices and then sending it out. That's
Mhm.
not really there.
Yeah, the way it works is actually you fill it out and say what it's intended to be. So you would
Yeah.
say that we're gathering funds in order to make a donation for the EDFT. So it wouldn't be like you would be hiding it. You would say that
No.
this is what we're doing. Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, maybe the answer, I don't know, we can think about it longer, but maybe the answer is I just need to create a Friends of the Disabled or the Friends of the EDFT in the town, right?
Possibly, and that's where, as Lisa mentioned, we would need to talk with Jason Little, the finance director for the town, who will have a really good idea of what's allowed and not allowed by law, and
And
yeah,
maybe giving people more opportunity to send in, the check-in goes out with their tax bills, but maybe, they could send in money anytime.
Right.
right. So thinking about the insurance companies and banks and stuff. So Cindy, I think your point, the reason we're down this little path is because they want to donate, but they want to donate it to a 501(c) for their tax reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And so donating to a committee, like maybe there is some kind of, that we don't know about. Maybe there is some kind of donation to government in there that they could get credit for on their taxes. Maybe. Doesn't sound likely, does it?
There's actually something called like a 509. I don't remember. I should know this. I don't off the top of my head, which is a nonprofit created for municipalities. I don't remember all the details about it.
What? So if I Google 509, I get something about snowmobiling. So
It's 509A1.
okay.
I can look into it further, but it's a
Okay, a charity that exists for public benefit is primarily supported by the public, either by government. Okay, yeah, that would be great if you looked into that.
Yeah. I should know this. I've just forgotten. It's
Okay.
been too long.
because yes, a lot of the Friends of the Library solicits donations this way, and they do it on a big scale and they do it on a small scale, like for summer reading. Trombetta's always used to donate free ice cream cards for the summer reading program. So but we're not necessarily in competition with them because these companies might want to support multiple things. Oh, and you mentioned, Jocelyn, the American Legion.
Oh, just as a spot, like if we were gonna send out flyers or information about the
Okay.
program, that the Legion and the food pantry might be places to.
Right, because local. I don't know what the Lions do, like local
Yeah.
community organizations that.
So I emailed Jason and asked him if the committee could set up a Friends of the EDTF 501(c) group, and he said we cannot, but an independent group of people could. Again, we're a government, not a public charity or a nonprofit.
Right. Yeah. So I could, like me or anybody else in the world, could set up a 501(c) for the benefit for Friends of EDFT. And then the purpose of that could be to fundraise for the EDFT. And let me think about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
It's like
work.
about $800 to set up a nonprofit and this, administrative work to get it up and running and rolling. And,
Right.
Okay.
that's why it's
Yeah.
easier to partner with somebody who already exists, Or sometimes what you can do is you can actually take an existing nonprofit that's sort of defunct and it can be gifted to you sort of, and you can sort of just rework their bylaws to accomplish the same task. So let me think about it.
Okay. I really don't know very much. I kind of wish I had invited Family and Youth Services to this meeting, and they steer people to us, and just yesterday and just in the past week, I heard about something that Northborough has called the Special Benevolent Fund. And the tiny bit I know, so I asked Andy Dowd, the town clerk, what that was, because I just happened to see a notice that Marcia Roman had been appointed to it again. And if any of you know Marcia, you know that she's a tremendous help to people in this town. I know her from the library. So, and you can look up the Special Benevolent Fund on our website, which is what Andy did, and showed me that, looking at their minutes, that they had donated funds to a family. So it's important to know. So that's through Family and Youth Services.
You have to make a special request. Usually it's a written request and then present it to the committee.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. So I think it's important for us to know, to have a better understanding of all the players in town, all the different ways that people are being helped. All right, so is there anything else people want to bring up? We can send out minutes on this middle or end of next week, and then we'll just kind of, or no, not even minutes, but just like a list of everything that we've talked about, just like a comprehensive list of everything that we've mentioned, and I'll try and categorize it a little bit. And Cindy's going to reach out to the Junior Women's Club, and then we can decide where to go from there. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's quickly go into, please, executive session. I will now, so that we can vote on those minutes, I will now entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss the topics outlined in the agenda pertinent to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, requiring confidentiality. And at the conclusion of the executive session, the committee will adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor, Cindy?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Julie? Aye. So if you've all had a chance to review the executive session minutes, do you?
Excuse me, Julie. I
Yes.
just want to end the live stream.
Oh, I'm